and this is our plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution.
Way cool. We have a few more minutes, but thanks. Way cool. I'm so excited.
Okay. We are going live, is it?
February is Heart Month. Every year for the month of February, to show our appreciation to Extendovite's faithful customers, we have a sale.
But we're talking
if you would like to try Extendovite, now is the time to get a few months ahead and really give Extendovite the time to show you how it works. Most of Extendovite's long-term customers wait for this sale to stock up. People and doctors tell us about the unbelievable improvements that they have experienced in their overall health, not just the heart. Extendovite wants you to experience the power of these herbs. Get a 4-month supply for only $115 for either the capsules or tincture. Please take advantage of this once-per-year sale and get healthy for life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Yes, welcome to freedomslips.com, revolution.radio. Station with us, then please do the donate click, the donate click, the donate click. Well, I have somebody that I really have appreciated learning from on the show today. Yeah, it's not just me rattling off. I got some real other live conversation going. Yes, with Harald. I don't know that I'll say Kautzvella. Is that, how do you say that, Harald?
We used to say kautzvella, but I'm divorced, so everybody tries to slowly get used to the Kautz without the Vella.
Well, I think we've all been divorced in many different ways and meanings, especially on learning the facts of the basics behind science and reality, and the idea that we're supposed to believe what they taught us as factual. And I bet you've had a lot of new awarenesses that you've been able to see clearer the things that we've been lied to about. So that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to have a conversation with you. And the parasite one with the black goo still sends shivers up my back. But it's like, did you figure out how we can also dispel this stuff?
Yes, I always have like three parts within the working field. One is finding out what happens. The second one is discovering an antidote. And the third one then is communicating. I would never communicate anything without having a solution, because then you just, you fearmonger. So, yes, for most of the things, there are solutions, but there's no rescuer or no rescue. Solutions have to be done by the people themselves. So this is how it works.
Well, what brought you to this arena? Was it some kind of experience that you just had enough and said, I got to prove something else? Or was it like spirit sent, hey, why don't you look over here?
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I took weird decisions during my life. For example, moving to Norway. For years I was focused on North Africa, was preparing projects, and then I got an invitation to Norway, and from now to now just decided to leave Germany, leave everything behind, including at that point my family, because I felt it was the right thing to do without knowing why. These types of decisions play a role. That is one thing. The other thing is that whatever I did, I always had intention in it. I tried to survive in many fragments of the current system, like being a script doctor for a feature film production. And I liked movies that make people grow and get adult. I don't like movies that make people circle in sickness. And when you know about film psychology, you can tell one from the other. The thing is, I never made a movie. I never got anything through, because the system likes the other part or the other type of movies. And this is how it worked all my life. University rejected me twice. Qualified working world rejected me continuously. So I had to survive by doing unqualified work and do the real McCoy just in after work time or during night shifts or whatever. Basically, it's about living your own truth. This is what makes the difference. Maybe we can frame it like that.
Yeah, I don't like superficial things either. And sometimes you are better off doing a rote project that puts you in your mind, because what is it to washing dishes, things like that. So I totally get the idea. One of my favorite things as a child was always looking at the earth science, the geography and the other things that they always tried to show us. But of course, we know NASA is never a straight answer. So basically, it's when I hear you speak of what you're talking, I know that you're saying the facts behind the many facets of the matrix. Okay. And seriously, the black goo, it just, oh my gosh. And to even recognize it's all a war thing. It's all a thing for, like you said, destruction and hate and society being a group of sheep. Or actually goats, because people call their children kids, which is a baby goat. That irritates me.
Yeah, you're taking it a little bit from the exciting point of view, from the thrill that these things give you. But I always try to get things precise. Maybe this is why it was laid in my hands to be able to do all this research. If you talk about black goo, always think about what type of black goo you talk.
Okay, go ahead.
We do have two types on this planet. One is actually carrying the spirit of Gaia and is something absolutely not divine, but absolutely loving. And the other one is coming from meteorites that crashed onto our planet 25,500 years ago. And it's also planetary consciousness, but traumatized planetary consciousness that we know by the name of Satan. So yes, black goo is something definitely with a strong impact on consciousness. But it's not good or bad just by the substance. You always have to look with what spirit you deal. That was actually what made the research on that topic so interesting, because nobody knew it before. Intent.
That's why it could be a weapon, or it's all the intent of what it's used for, right?
No, it doesn't. It can't be used for anything. It uses.
Oh, so it's like it is a parasite, right?
It is a planetary spirit. If you look into nature, maybe it's the easiest way to grab it is if you look into nature, you've got instinct with all animals. They are born and they exactly know how to behave. So there is information somehow stored in the collective of the biosphere. And of course, if you have this effect, it's absolutely valid to ask the question, where is all this information stored? Information is not just hovering in the empty. So it needs a physical body, something to be written into and something to be processed by. And if you go into more advanced science and understand biophoton research and all those things, at a certain point you realize that a planet carries this collective consciousness of a biosphere, that the planet actually acts like a being, that you can communicate with a planet. And it makes absolutely sense because he speaks or she speaks perfect English and German, because it's all within her consciousness. All the languages that are talked on the planet are part of her consciousness because she's got access to everything that lives here. And this is one thing you have to learn first about the character, the spirituality of a planet, and it's the memory is crystalline plus in organic matter. For example, crude oil and methane gas, frozen methane gas, is carrying memory. It's like a quartz crystal can be used as a memory stick in a computer. In that way, this consciousness type can read and write out of crystalline matter, both organic and inorganic. And the more living part of it, actually the processor, the consciousness, what we have as a brain, a planet has in form of this sentient oil that is actually a highly concentrated form of life, of a life form. And this is why it's getting so intense when you get close to the substance. Actually, the entire brain is the entire ley line grid of the planet. So it's spread all over the place, but it's acting holofractal. So if you have one portion of this liquid substance, it can act self-referent and it can communicate. And when you communicate with a fraction, because it's holofractal, you communicate with the entity. So this is how communication with the planet is done, and this is not like things talked about by some weirdos. We do have absolute serious research. For example, as far as I know, the University of Warsaw in Poland has a professor that is researching the Earth-type black goo for quite a few years, and he's got a standing communication with her as well. And it's all part of this. This is Eastern Europe. It's a little bit different. In Western Europe, things are rather strict, and what they call rational, which is just limited in understanding. But in Eastern countries, research is a bit more advanced at that point.
Oh, that's really cool. And that did clear a lot up. But as we're using these and burning these as fuels, I wonder what that does to the memory. And that I have
dementia, you call that. It's happening on the individual level as on the planetary. Yeah, we are burning the memory of our planet.
Well, then why do they want to hide it? And then they want to blame it on us that we're putting carbons in the atmosphere. And we're paying for it with our taxes and the fees of whatever we want to do to be something. I wouldn't even think this. Go ahead.
It's all mixed up. Climate change, the way they tell us, is not happening. We're not heating up our planet at the moment because the sun is heating up. And all the effects, if you look at other planets, they have a plus of 15 to 20 degrees in certain areas. So we're not even really heating up compared to the other planets in our system. But this is all ignored. So apparently we are the ones, and then with the effect that doesn't even count, the carbon dioxide doesn't make a difference whether there's close to nothing or close to nothing of it in the air. Other gases make a much bigger difference, like
methane,
methane, or water vapor is regulating our climate in an intensity where carbon will never get to. Even if you look at the overall picture of carbon dioxide concentration over the last 500 million years, it's been at a serious percentage, and it didn't change anything with the temperature. I think the points I remember is 8 or 5% in earlier areas of our history, like Carbon or Precambrian, much higher carbon dioxide concentrations. And if you look at the temperature, it's jumping from an average of 10 to an average of 20, then it's stable on that point, and then it jumps back down and it jumps back up. Right. Typical self-organized, self-referent, self-organizing system with 2 points of stability. And normally the hot one is the better one for the planet, so there's nothing to be afraid of at that point. At the moment we are at a cold one, in the cold phase.
Well, I have to kind of go WTF, because I was there in the Gulf oil spill area, and I saw the damage of what it's done to the whole intercoastal, let alone the Gulf of Mexico, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida. And it screwed up the water system. And look at the Barrier Reef, the Great Barrier Reef. I think it was Australia, saying they're going to start dumping trash into Great Barrier Reef. And they say it's bleaching. Now, of course, that would be a chemical reaction, not a solar reaction. But I just want to fix the planet and do my gardening. And I do the best that I can. But all these things, now when you were saying that about the planets getting warmer, we just crossed over the galactic cross line, right, of the galactic sun. Mm-hmm. And that there's so many different things of people saying the planet X, Nibiru, whatever it is, that we might actually have some incoming object or its own solar system that's actually the twin of ours. I don't know. See, I'm not a scientist, plus I just know I want to garden to a degree.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Nibiru, because it's said it's only visible in the infrared spectrum, so you can't see it with a telescope. But I never saw a picture of it in the infrared spectrum. So I'm completely clueless. I very much trust the historians of the ancient Sumerian people that noted down that these things come across frequently. So there should be something to it, but the Sumerians didn't put a precise timeline to when is it going to come back. So simply, I don't know. I haven't seen a picture. There were early reports about that. Actually, when something was just becoming visible incoming, it was not a huge topic back then. As far as I remember, people talked even about sightings and results from telescopes. But that was in the late 80s, as far as I know. And all the rumors that it's already in the solar system, it's approaching us from behind the sun. This has been going for years, and it more looks like disinformation at the moment, and fear-mongering, right, and distracting people from the serious issues that they can solve themselves. This is when you've got a catastrophe coming in and something huge turning you into a victim, whether you did something or you didn't.
Right.
You just stare at things and you freeze and don't do anything. So this is the quality of the discussion of Nibiru, and I'm not going into that. Maybe it's coming, maybe it's not coming, maybe it's coming now, maybe it's coming later. We can't change that in any case.
Well, because also, we don't think of the etheric side of the equation in the vibrational realms, that we're only supposed to focus on this 3D environment. And I don't think that's balanced or fair. And I'm not saying you. I'm saying many other things that are going on, because like you said, if you can only see it in ultraviolet, our eyes aren't out and created for ultraviolet. So to see it physically would be infrared.
Infrared,
okay.
Not ultraviolet.
Oh, I don't have a photographic memory, but I was close. Okay, so, and what you said in your 5 thing, which was really cool, I have to get back to it because I've shared it in so many places. It's not easy sharing all that information. Okay. Why am I not able to say it? The geology, physics, math, and media. Where to go? Okay, medium. Okay, that's you. You've already said that. Now, what is a polymath?
I remember that when we had the first universities in Europe, we had something in German. It was called Studium Generale, general studies. If you went to university, you studied basically everything, and you were able to understand how things are interrelated. Like the Greek philosophers also studied everything. There was not a philosopher that took care of biology. This is a science thing. This is a rationalization thing. And just because I did what I felt like doing, I ended up studying both natural science and media science, where you get good overview of everything from sociology to psychology. I ended up actually getting a very broad view of what can be summarized as science, all branches of science.
Well, and
this view
well
just stayed with me.
It was also there when you were doing your scripting, because you got to have all those characters, so to define which ones are the basis of the subject. I mean, that makes sense to me. That makes a lot of good sense to me. We've got about a minute before the break, so I don't want to get too more involved yet for a minute. But when we get back, I'd like to know more about how you came up with the chemtrail-related fallout, because that's really heavy here. I don't know how well it is in your area, but I tell you what, I've seen the planet covered, and it's very sad to see that we are guinea pigs to whatever it is that somebody feels they have the power over us to do.
Yeah, we can go into that.
Yeah, I've had other people on really talking about it too, but it's been so long, people don't realize it's been happening since the 60s. And we've all been in a disarray for quite some time. All right, we're at the 26 mark. We shall be right back. It will probably be quiet, but we'll be right back. I wish Skype worked.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message.
What the heck is the truth jihad? Hey, I'm Kevin Barrett, host of Truth Jihad Radio. Federal prosecutors, Department of Homeland Security agents, and curious passersby often ask me, just what is this truth jihad thing anyway? Well, everybody knows what truth is, but jihad is a misunderstood term. Jihad means effort or struggle. The greater jihad is the struggle to be a better person, while the lesser jihad is the struggle to defend the community. Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, did say that the best jihad is a word of truth flung in the face of a tyrant. And that's what we do here at Truth Jihad Radio. Every Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, 5 to 7 Pacific, right here on Revolution Radio.
Find some comfort at Willow's World. A variety of news, commentary and poetry at Willow's Poetry Corner, where there are comfy cushions and a tempting selection of delectable comestibles. A show that's quirkily and quintessentially British, with a unique twist featuring Willow Andreasen, your host. Join Willow Mondays and Thursdays 2 till 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Studio A.
February is Heart Month. Every year for the month of February, to show our appreciation to Extendivite's faithful customers, we have a sale. If you would like to try Extendivite, now is the time to get a few months ahead and really give Extendivite the time to show you how it works. Most of Extendivite's long-term customers wait for this sale to stock up. People and doctors tell us about the unbelievable improvements that they have experienced in their overall health, not just the heart. Extendivite wants you to experience the power of these herbs. Get a 4-month supply for only $115 for either the capsules or tincture. Please take advantage of this once-per-year sale and get healthy for life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
I think I'm stuck. I want to welcome everybody back. Yes, remember you're here at Listener Supported around the world. Okay. So do the donate click on the homepage. See what you can do to help us out. As we get such good information as we are getting to get our tax. Welcome back, Harold. Did I lose you? I didn't lose you. I see you right there.
I'm here.
All right. I'm here too. Well, I had a hit off the ball, so excuse me, but I am the feral hippie, so I take my tobacco break and my funner break. So I've noticed and seen for decades those funny lines that they stick into the sky. So I'd like to hear your rundown of that.
Oh, quick one, I guess. I've done it so many times. It's online in details and summaries. I came across it in Norway. Was probably the reason why I had the feeling that I have to go there. When just farmers ask me why the heck we lose our harvest this year. Sunny weather, enough rain, perfect conditions, and nothing grows. Everything getting brown, spots, is rotting and stops growing. That was kind of the initial question, and they just knew, okay, there's a crazy scientist from Germany, he might have an answer, so let's ask him. And so they asked me, here's our lab analysis of soil, rainwater, and plant material. Are you able to read that? And of course I was not. How should I? So I just took the papers and compared it to values that I pulled from some archives out of the 50s, early 60s to see what's actually natural, what's the normal values. And then, of course, you just make a comparison and you realize, okay, there are 4 values that are high: barium, strontium, titanium, and aluminum. And then you Google the 4 elements to see if that makes any sense. And here we've got popping up 100 websites on chemtrailing, because all over the world, wherever you have trees dying, other types of environmental problems, you've got these 4 elements. And that was the starting point. How I got into it. And the problem was that we had much worse times in heavy metal pollution, industrial revolution, when all the coal was burned and the smoke was going into the European air unfiltered, to the time of acid rain in the 70s. We did have heavy impacts onto nature. And compared to those values, the values we had in the lab were rather harmless, like 100 times more heavy metals. And during the Industrial Revolution, the forests were well fertilized by that, but they didn't die. So it was like a huge question mark. What actually is giving you this fingerprint of barium, strontium, titanium, and aluminum? And this is only the elements. So you look for the molecules, for the crystals, or a second question: in what form do these elements come? And that took quite a bit of research to finally find the solution. And the solution was that it's barium, strontium, titanate, and aluminum oxide. Used in military plasmas. So this is what chemtrailing is. You put metal salts as an additive into the fuel, and in the combustion process, the little droplets of the fuel is turned into. Every single droplet burns in the turbine, and every droplet produces 1 nanocrystal. According to the soft chemistry you put into the additives, and by adjusting the chemistry, you get actually any crystal you want to have out of the jet output. And the military domain is using these things as a part of their radar technology, like radar range enhancement, and for actually electromagnetic control of the higher atmosphere. They discovered this with HAARP when they experimented on the ionosphere. This is actually a natural layer of ionized air. And if you want to play with the stratosphere with electromagnetic fields, you need plasma, because simple air doesn't act to electromagnetic fields. So it needs to be ionized. You need plasma. plasma. So they were just looking for a possibility to ionize layers of air to be able to play around with radar technology and microwave technologies to get electromagnetic control of the skies. And this is needed for 3D battlefield monitoring. This is needed for the rocket shield that was developed to shoot down incoming rockets, not by rockets you send out, but first you need the 3D tracking of what's coming in. And then you might as well, when you know the traveling path, you might as well heat up the air, if you can reach the plasma, to 10,000 degrees and just burn the rocket by heating up the air on the trajectory path. This is the games the military domain is playing around with. And for this, they need these substances in the air. And I think they have 3-4 layers of that on different flight levels spread all over the territory of the countries. Yeah. So it was not a miracle anymore that you have these high counts of nanoparticles coming down. I think I don't remember the values. It was thousands of tons in Germany per year raining down of this substance. We did very precise evaluation of quality and quantity, so we can precisely say actually how much is it. But this is for the scientific publications.
But it's not helping anything, is it? It's not helping anything, is it? Besides war?
No.
And the military-industrial complex and the...
It's not healthy. It's extremely toxic for plants because it's interrupting the biophoton exchange. This is why things stop growing, because the cell duplication impulse is annihilated by these nanocrystals. This was kind of the first important discovery.
Would repel the photosynthesis, wouldn't it?
No, it's the barium strontium titanate that has an absorption line in UV, and it's canceling out the cell division signal.
Well, would greenhouses help?
No.
Oh, please, come on.
Yes. Yes. No. It's a wrong answer. A greenhouse helps to not get the stuff on the leaves. You have to water plants in a greenhouse as well, so you've got things only at the roots, but not on the leaves. And especially with things like tomatoes, you can't grow tomatoes anymore outside because you will have the brown spots immediately with the first rain, with the chemtrails in the air. You get brown spots all over the leaves. Then the plants just are vulnerable to fungi and die. So if you don't put the rain on the leaves, you can make tomatoes grow in a greenhouse. That's a possibility.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, I just have an interesting story. I have a group that I'm associated with called cosmicreality.net, and they have shungite. I don't know if you've ever heard of the shungite.
Yes.
It attenuates both etheric and material, to my knowledge. And so it's winter here. We'd get the snow. Most everything that would be a perennial has disappeared because it's winter. But where the smart meter is on the house, I put one of their smart meter Band-Aids on the smart meter. And basically, I had plants in this flower bed. Yes, it's protected by a small awning, but I have feverfew and mint growing. And they're beautiful. They're more beautiful than if it was spring surviving through winter, when both of them would normally be gone and look like a dead twig during the winter. Mm-hmm. So I just, on that with the water and the things like that, because I always give them this shungite water, because I want to put everything in strength, and I tell it I love it, because I want it to know the feelings that, I really do appreciate life. And that's hard for a lot of people to recognize, but it's really true. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have no experience yet with shungite, but I came across the idea to shield electromagnetic fields with it, and I was considering just to order some shungite powder you can get for cheap.
Oh, I painted my room with it. It's so good. I have things that are in my room right now that my happy room. Okay, shungited. Anyway, go ahead. I apologize.
Yeah,
but not really.
Painting. Painting is a possibility if you live in a house with more stories. With a single house, I just thought about going onto the roof. I mean, not on the tiles, but in the triangle below, and just spread it on the ground. I mean, it's just used for storage. We don't live up there, so at the moment it's just dust and clay underneath. So you should just take the powder and spread it all over the place, make the thing dusty, put it in the air, let it settle. Should give a good powder cluster. You would be
one heck of a testimonial. We have also where we're trying to save the bees. And basically people can go, I'll try to find the list. But this place here, I'm just sending it to you, but I tell you what, if I get your address, you'll get some powder. The more tinier the particles. Now, you would love to talk to the scientists that are not scientists that work here with the shungite people, because it's all through life experience. It's not making judgment either yay or nay. Just like what you were trying to say about the particles and articles that are going on, especially with the energy of the black goo. There is no, it's got its own consciousness, etc. So they were trying to scare us in the X-Files and whatnot, all these other movies, you know. That parasite. Anyway. But yeah, don't hesitate to let me know where to send this, because you'll get some powder. And it's amazing. I mean, I hand out rocks to people. I ask people, you like rocks? I know, Nancy. I just said that yet. We will get you what you need, darling. Where was I going? I forgot where I was going. There's just so much. So what do you think about the 5G thing with the cell towers and that? And there's so much that basically needs a remedy of somehow, even if it's just from your heart to say, I don't accept anything that's negative. I'd like to hear what some of your remedies are. For 5G, I've been in the 5G area once. We've got one test area in Berlin. And I mean, I already do suffer from the normal Wi-Fi concentration in Berlin. It's quite intense. Sometimes it's 100 times more than the legal values if you're at hotspots in the town. That's inconvenient. In comparison to what the normal Wi-Fi is, if you go into the 5G area, it's like the difference of having a bright light in your eye and a laser pointer in your eye, because the 5G actually does have laser quality. It's produced by phase array antennas, and phase array put many different signals in phase to be overlaid at a certain spot in the room, and at that spot you have laser quality. A beam in phase multiplied by the number of antennas on the chip. This is laser. And you can't discuss 5G with energy density, as you can't discuss the harmful effect of a laser point by pointing to the 1.0 whatever watts the battery sucks to make it run. Laser light is something completely different than normal light. Normal light is incoherent. It's overlaying, it's harmonic, it's just white. And laser light is sharp like a razor blade. And you can't discuss, it's as if you say a razor blade can't kill
somebody because it weighs only 2 grams. This is how 5G is discussed in the public. This is a razor blade. It's extremely toxic to biology. And we've had enough incidents in the testing areas, like hundreds of birds dropping dead, disappearing from the parks, all insects dying, children going to school with bleeding noses in the morning. I mean, how much does it need to make clear that this technology is toxic? But the people who are pushing for it, they just see the bank accounts and the cash flow and whatever can be made by it, or the beautiful possibilities for the intelligence community to spy on everybody. And they don't care about people dying. They don't care about birds dropping dead from the sky because they're psychopaths. Full stop, period. This is what's happening, and I don't know what it needs to put an end to this.
Right.
I've got no clue. Maybe people will just take a huge hammer and destroy the antenna systems.
Oh, I've thought about it.
When they realize, yeah.
I mean, where are the hackers
maybe
at?
It's actually easy if you have a situation that can't be like that because it's too stupid. Something will happen to put an end to it. Don't ask me what's going to happen.
I think it's our attitude.
People will need to drop it.
And the way that we try to discuss this, you know what I mean, in open hearts, not trying to run people over and change their minds. I want people to find this on their own, you know.
At the moment, I don't see anyone complaining. Those who already suffer from normal electromagnetic field levels, they are completely in panic over 5G because they know what it does to the system from their own experience, and everybody else doesn't care. And so if there's a solution, then I think we have to take care of the non-caring of people.
Yeah, that's not easy.
I get quicker internet access. Oh, I can watch more porn in 1 minute than before. Whoa, this is how it goes. And
give me another beer.
Yeah, maybe they go to 6G and will have beer delivery on the wave patterns.
They got the drones out there, right?
They want to.
That's why they brought in all these video games so they can teach them how to fly the drones. Oh my gosh. I mean, put a joystick in a man's hand. What you got?
Many things are very intelligently solved by them. Also, if you look at the U.S. Army not accepting people that have been on psychopharmaca as children, because they know if you're ADS or ADHS and you get Ritalin and you go into a war situation, that you just don't care anymore, that you're so numb that you start killing hundreds of people, giving a bad reputation to the army.
Well, gee, that might have been
I remember
5 years ago, maybe.
I remember one quote from a girl that had these problems, and she was so happy about the medication she got, and she said, "It's so beautiful. Now I don't have to cry about every dead cat I find on the road. This is how it works." And my impulse was actually crying about a cat that got run over is pretty healthy, especially for a child.
Well, tears for anybody could be good or bad, depending on how you carry it later.
Yeah. So the U.S. military doesn't take people who have been on medication. So where do they go? They go to Blackwater, or to Academy, how they call themselves today, and become soldiers of these mercenary armies.
Right.
Who go
They're security
into other
guards,
countries
okay?
paid by the government, without any limitation to madness. Yeah, let's go to Baghdad, shoot some people. We've had these incidents, hundreds of them. done by mercenaries. And what does Hollywood look at? So what's the name? Jason
Bourne,
Transporter, Jason Badham. No. What's his name? Forgot his name. He's playing this Zen Buddhist looking like mercenary that is killing hundreds of people in a minute, and his face is just smiling, looking as if he's in deep meditation mode. Jason Statham. Amazing work by Hollywood to attract all these drug victims that have been forced to take Ritalin in their childhood, ended up at Blackwater instead of going to the US Army. They have a new hero in mind to copy-paste into their life. It's all well done. It functions perfectly. The only thing I don't understand is where the heck has the human soul gone? Because this is all day consciousness. It's all the day consciousness that makes these intrigues function on people.
Well,
and normally the human soul should wake up and scream from morning till evening when she sees stuff like this. And I'm screaming from morning till evening, being regarded as the weirdo.
The programming has been that we don't have families, and the families have not been able to teach the family unit because there was no family unit to learn from. So they have wiped all existence of our true tribal supposed to be's that are nature, like you said, inherited,
Yeah, this is how it happened. The question is, how do we get out of it? Yeah. And you cannot manipulate a soul.
That's true. I see what you're saying, right.
The higher self, the true self, so many names with different meanings, but the core of the human being has nothing to do with this incarnation. It's the observing consciousness that is incarnated into a human being, and from there, this observing consciousness can observe everything. It can observe your own mind deteriorating under dementia. It can observe whether you have emotions or whether you don't have emotions. It observes everything. And once you observe something, you're not identified with what you observe.
I will give you a reasoning here, Harold.
Just a sec.
Go ahead.
This core human can't be manipulated, and the entire thing, the only thing that needs to be done by people is start fighting to recover this true self, because what we are living here at the moment is just our day consciousness. It's a mountain of different things that are not us.
No, they're the illusion.
Combination of mental field and emotional body forming your ego. This is not you. This is construction of your day consciousness that tries to make you function somehow.
Okay.
And once you're detached from that and go back to the perspective of the observer without being identified with all the crap happening within you, you can start sorting yourself out, and then you can't be manipulated anymore, and then you might start screaming as well that something is badly wrong over here.
Okay, well, it's badly wrong everywhere. Let me give you my quick rundown here. Our first word that we were told no is one of the first cutoffs. The second cutoff is when a young male gets circumcised. They add these energies to the sublineal being of our studenthood, which is trying to help guide the soul, and that we're not allowed to discipline ourselves. We must be disciplined from outside ourselves. And then in religious factors, they changed the words. One of the most powerful prayer is in earth as in heaven, not on earth as in heaven, because they cut from the main source the energy power grid that we are here to inherit. And we're at the top of the hour, so it's break time. But I had to put those 2 cents in. We'll be right back, huh?
Yep.
And if you have headsets on, I do 3 singing bowls when I come back, so you might want to take your headset off.
Listen to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.
Hello, all you good-looking people out there in Revolution Radio. This is Mario. I invite you to join me Thursdays at 6 o'clock for This, That, and the Other. It's a show about you, it's a show about me, but ultimately it's a show where we try to have a little bit of fun. We discuss important topics, and we do our best to be apolitical. So I invite you, put on your favorite pair of comfy sweats, your smoking jacket, and grab a beverage of your choice, and join me Thursday evenings at 6 o'clock for This, That, and the Other on Revolution Radio.
Enter into a world unseen on Raven Star's Witching Hour. You will encounter eclectic topics from the realm of spirit brought into our matrix of truth. With your host, the Solaris Blue Raven. Solaris will bring you an array of unique guests covering topics from ghostly spirits to amazing anomalies, covert technology, UFOs, and shadowy global events.
And that's right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Saturdays, midnight till 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Let the magic rise.
February is Heart Month. Every year for the month of February, to show our appreciation to Extendovite's faithful customers, we have a sale. If you would like to try Extendovite, now is the time to get a few months ahead and really give Extendovite the time to show you how it works. Most of Extendovite's long-term customers wait for this sale to stock up. People and doctors tell us about the unbelievable improvements that they have experienced in their overall health, not just the heart. Extendovite wants you to experience the power of these herbs. Get a 4-month supply for only $115 for either the capsules or tincture. Please take advantage of this once-per-year sale and get healthy for life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Welcome back. We're here at freedomslips.com, revolution.radio, and cosmicreality.net. Remember, we're listener supported, so go to the home pages and do the donate click. The first of the month is coming up, and of course we'll keep asking, but I want to appreciate and thank you all who have contributed. Don't forget we have archives, and then we actually have some of the best heirloom seeds ever. I'm so excited to get some seeds going. I love gardening. The earth. I know I'm here for Mother Earth. I'm not here for the rest of this that's going on. It's irritated me so much that I've been written up in newspapers, accused of causing heart attacks on politicians and stuff like that. And it's not that way. I like to come out with the facts of the truth with conditions of consciousness. I don't want to fight anything. I'm over the fighting. But I've seen, God, I was born in 58, so I've seen 60 years worth of it, and I just don't like it at all. Nope. But being by yourself has not been a bad thing. I think that was your real mission, is not to worry about the programming that you had to be raised with. You there? No?
Yeah, I'm here. I wonder where we go to content-wise now. I'm
right here. Let's see. DNA light communication. I like that idea. Did we do that? The transhumanistic technologies meant to assimilate our nervous system, our consciousness, aka DNA light communication. I like light. They've taken it out of our light bulbs. That's why the LEDs are hurting all the environment.
Yeah, this is crap, what they put onto the light bulbs. Maybe a short summary of technologies out there, just to give an understanding that our intelligence community might be a little bit intelligent, but definitely not our friends. What they bring out to be able to spy on everybody. First of all, the future of warfare, paper published by NASA on an internal server, shouldn't have been accessible by public, but somebody pushed the wrong button and somebody else downloaded it, so it's out there. They say that by 2025, the major war is happening between the government and its own people, because we will have a unipolar world, and war doesn't work if there's only one pole, because there's nobody to fight left. So governments will be in war with the people they rule. This is the future of warfare, according to NASA. And they write a lot of shit, I know, but this is an internal paper. This is not deception published by NASA. So, and they describe all sorts of technologies. When you go into the environmental analysis, you find shitloads of particles that are highly specialized. For example, this barium strontium titanate. If you have a close look at it under the microscope, if you get with your finger into the direction of the raindrop with nanocrystals in and look under the microscope in the dark field, the shit starts to glow. When I saw that for the first time, is somebody just using a torch to highlight a certain group of crystals? No, they highlight themselves. They start to shine whenever you get close with your finger to the particles. And I went like, what is this? And then you just check the literature and you find the little remark that if you dot barium strontium titanate with europium, rare earth element, that it has then the ability to upconvert light. It's collecting low frequent light. It's kind of collecting 3 photons, merging them into one unit, and resending one photon with a triple frequency. So they upconvert infrared to visible light. This is because when you take your finger, you get close to the probe. Your finger is emitting infrared light because it's hot, and then the crystals go and shine in visible light. And this happens on all frequency. You can also take microwave and upconvert microwave to another part of the visible spectrum, depending on the frequencies. It always doubles and triples. This is upconversion. And this principle is well known from not all, but the basic concepts of transhumanistic technologies. The first ones who do that is quantum dot dyes, developed by Bell Labs in the 80s. The concept is take microwave radiation, insert it into the human body. Inside the body, you've got these quantum dot dyes, and they upconvert the radiation, that it can penetrate the body and resend visible light to communicate with the DNA. Very old concept, quantum dot dyes. They have realized that these dyes are too poisonous actually to be spread, because whenever somebody is too acidic in his system, these dyes dissolve and people die from heavy metal pollution. So they have to encapsulate somehow, normally in nanofibers. And here we go and come to the concept of Morgellons. Nanofibers filled with quantum dot dyes to communicate or to create an interface between microwave radiation by whatever tower or satellite and your DNA. And light in DNA is consciousness. Whatever is sent in comes in as consciousness, as desire, sexual desire, as thought. They can create a voice inside your head with this technology, and they can read what you think, because it's both way. It also takes visible light from your DNA. It takes your thought and down converts it to microwave. And then they can read what you this is how far technology is evolved. That is one part, kind of the communication with a biophone and environment inside the body with quantum dot dyes, and also with these nanocrystals. And the other thing with the nanocrystals, actually, you can learn how this works when you research mad cow disease.
Oh.
There was one excellent guy. He was actually an ecological farmer in Great Britain when this big incident happened where they killed hundred thousands of cows in Great Britain in the 80s. And he was growing...
That was hoof and mouth, wasn't it?
Bioquality. Yeah, he was growing his cows in bioquality, and he refused the mandatory vaccination using organophosphates. And none of his cattle got mad cow disease. Those animals he bought from other farmers in that time, they all died from mad cow disease. But the ones who didn't have the mandatory vaccination were completely fine. So he started to look into the issue and found out that actually the organophosphates from the vaccination is pulling the copper, stripping the copper out of the body. It's chelating as substance. If you don't have enough copper in your body, plus there's mercury available and your nervous system is vulnerable because the protective layer is dissolved by mercury, then your nerves dissolve, which means a nerve strand is protein, prion, copper, protein, prion, copper, protein, prion, copper. This is how a nerve is built. And if you pull out the copper, you're ending up with protein, prion chain links who just go around in your system and are there as basic units to rebuild newly growing nervous system with newly supplied copper. If there's no copper available, the body says, okay, let's take something else. Let's take barium and strontium instead of copper, because it does work biochemically. And then you get nervous tissue that goes barium, protein, prion, barium, protein, prion. And this is nervous tissue that is electrosensitive because of the quality of the metal ion in there. So actually, the entire thing that happened with the mad cows was that somebody would dissolve the nervous system and had it regrown in an electrosensitive way. And the next thing that is happening, if you have this barium in the chains, and you have barium strontium titanate crystals in the body as well, the nerve connects to the crystal, forming a new neuronal knot. And this is exactly what is described in literature as a neuronal nanobot. A little tiny receiver, an antenna that can be radio controlled, that actually pulls in nerves to grow on its surface to form a neuronal knot, an artificial one. And this is how it's done. And with humans, it's not like mandatory vaccination. This is not the trick. With humans, the trick is offering cheap flights to shitty holidays where you go on airplanes that have the organophosphates coming in with the cabin air from the lubrication of the turbines.
Whoa.
And then you fly on flight height through a silvery shining layer of piezo crystals. And you don't have any filter units in the airplane. So all it needs additionally is some mercury that you get with fish and vaccinations. And there you grow yourself, or you regrow yourself as a biorobot.
Oh my gosh.
With the electrosensitive nervous tissue plus new neural knots that function as antenna units.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is the second part. So they have an interface to the human DNA light communication. They have an interface to the nervous system. And the third generation is a bit difficult to talk about because sensitive material and people involved. So there's another thing around that actually works like a retrovirus, putting itself into the human DNA, replicating, putting itself, it's synthetic RNA that is giving possibilities of remote control of defined functions. Like you want this person to faint, oops, send him a line of signals like a dial-in code in the microwave spectrum.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Times 0.50 milliseconds. 50 milliseconds, and then this RNA is activated and does something with your consciousness. And fainting on the spot is very, very nice if you want to get rid of people, and you find them falling asleep in their car in a dangerous curve in the mountain area.
Oh
this is
gosh.
exactly what happened to me. When I started to research these things, I was on one of these roads in Norway in the mountains, and I came along a black limousine that was standing in a completely impossible corner next to the road. Definitely no tourists. Nobody would drive such a car there, and nobody would stand on the side of the road. And when I just came past the car, I felt a signal crossing my body. I could even tell the direction it came from, making all my DNA, all my cells ring like bells, electrify for kind of close to half a second, and then everything turned black, and I woke up again on the other side of the road just in time to not drop down 200 meters into the next lake. Yeah, so this is how it works if you want to get rid of people who do nasty research.
Oh, gosh. How many times that happens to me? It's been happening to me since I was probably in my 30s. And you just described it exactly. Now, I've come to also center myself, take deep breaths, and say control, and I get to not lose my faculties. A couple years ago, I did.
Yeah. I hesitated for a long time whether to publish or not to publish, because there's no medical solution. For the other things, we develop medical solutions. Morgellons can be cured. You can get rid of the neuronal barium-based nervous system in your head. It's a bit tricky, but it works. So we could offer solutions to that. With the RNA, there's no solution except one. And this is why we were, from the spiritual world, explicitly being asked not to look for a medical solution. And this solution is to completely switch to heart consciousness. When your day consciousness is carried within your heart chakra, it doesn't matter what your brain does. It doesn't matter what your emotions do. And all they can manipulate and attack is thought and emotion. So if you're an ego-based entity, ego per definition is interaction between mental and emotional body without heart consciousness involved. This is my definition for ego.
Makes sense. Very general. To me.
Yeah. So if you're ego-based and your heart is out of sight from, and your day consciousness is actually walking around without any access by the incarnated spirit, then this is of danger. This is manipulating you. All these things. Once you get this twist to cure yourself back into the state of running on heart consciousness, they can manipulate as much as they want. All you get is kind of the sensation of somebody trying to manipulate you. But once you're not identified with all the things they touch, you just realize, okay, then it's inconvenient, because sometimes it's painful to go through all these manipulation attempts and radiations, because when you don't flow with it, you start to hear them, to realize what's happening to your body.
Well, the biggest thing is forgiveness, isn't it? Isn't the biggest way to just release all fear is forgiveness? I mean, we're all just playing different parts, and it doesn't mean we always have the rules or the game plan. So how, if we're learning, can we take ourselves so seriously and personal when we didn't know? You know what I mean?
What I really like is self-forgiveness.
Oh,
this is something, if I do a mistake and I realize, oh shit, then it's good to make your peace with the incident and realize why you got things wrong and fix the cause of the mistake at its root, not on the symptom level. Their forgiveness is beautiful, and of course, if you have lived through many things, like being 17 and really stupid, and then you see somebody that is 17 and really stupid, you can remember that you've been there as well, and you have forgiven yourself, and then it's easy to forgive the other one because you know in what state he is, and it's giving you a much better access to point to what's really wrong with people when you are not in resistance against what they do, but in understanding for why they do it. Completely different access. Or
just not judging it, because it was astrology that saved my children's lives. Because I knew that there were inherited energies that they would come to use, because we're each given a certain toolkits, and at least I believe, from the astral, the astral, and that energies do correlate, etc., behaviors, even habits and things like that, and it's worked out, and it's helped me a lot too, because then I don't have to but try to build on the good things and have them see what the wrongness of it without principle of making them bad. Because that's one thing I couldn't do to my children. It was like, what? No, come on. Now, if you did it with intent of harm, now that's a whole different story. But if it's just an issue, then no problem.
Yeah. But there is a limit to this system of forgiveness. If I meet people who are completely in possession by demonic entities,
right,
and the true self has zero access left to the system, and from what we have as experience with demonic entities, they don't want to be forgiven. They don't want to learn. They don't want to grow. They don't want to heal. All they want is do their shitty, stupid crap. And,
they're
and there's
vampires.
No way
they're sucking your energies because they know you've got it. Oh yeah, I've had vampires come and just zap me. I've had to learn to not give of myself because you never know. Go ahead.
And in a way, as long as there's a human accessible that might learn and heal and get better, I'm all in for forgiveness. the moment you interact with people and you realize the only thing I interact with actually is the demon that is possessing this human. Go to politics, you will find loads of these people. And there I don't see the point I don't see the point of forgiveness at that point, because this forgiveness thing is assistance to learn and heal. It's all in a framework of trying to help each other to get out of this. But if there's nobody at home anymore that could learn, what do you do with such a person?
I go in the opposite direction. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, no, thank you.
This is the only thing you can.
Yeah, I've witnessed quite a few things. Go ahead.
Or you take people out of the game so that they can't do harm anymore, in whatever way.
Exactly.
I mean, not you, but it shouldn't be a problem legally to do that with a legal system that actually is on the paper, because these people are extremely criminal in what they do, and if they would be charged for what they do, they would be put behind bars and couldn't do harm anymore. But this is something nobody does, so
it's so perpetuated. I mean, okay, they want to blame all of our military-industrial complex on the Nazis. Okay, now I don't know if you consider that a good word or a bad word, but it's a word that's used. And I'm part German, and I know I wasn't part of any of that because I'm here in North America. So at least there might be some ancestral karmic, whatever, I don't know. I do believe that we do have karma, but it plays in so many different ways. But as I was attacked as a teenager, and I had to forgive that man for raping me, I had the rubber band break. Because if I'm thinking about it and I'm not forgiving the whole thing, that this is to teach me a lesson, now I can help other women who have gone through that energy, because I've been there, done that, and being a friend on top of it, which really wasn't nice either. And then he was a musician, a head singer in a band. So it was like, this was wrong when we were friends, but we weren't friends that demonic day. And as soon as that rubber band busted, somebody whose sister was done to like that because of his ego self, he ended up murdered. So I figured, okay, I think forgiving is really a cool thing. If they're going to get their because there's so many different ways of how the manifestation between our intent and what we're thinking, either from the heart or just the mind or whatever, because a lot of life is going to show us what we're asking for. And I sure don't want any other out there harm to nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it's a higher principle that I see functioning on multiple levels. The first one I tried to crack was actually this scarcity abundance thing with a monetary system. I knew emotionally something was completely wrong with us using money, because it's supposed to create justice, and it's the instrument that creates the highest amount of injustice you could just imagine. So something systemically is wrong with the money. Proves that. Yeah, you can think of that when we come back. We're almost up to the 6. Go ahead until the 6 shows up.
Okay, so that was kind of the first thing I tried to sort out for my life, to get into a state of inner abundance, to have a cosmic reaction on my internal being that would put me into abundance.
Well, we all
in the material
be blessed.
plane.
Right, because you feel blessed no matter what has come across your path, and we'll be right back. At least that's the way I feel about it. All right, we'll be right back.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
What the heck is the truth jihad? Hey, I'm Kevin Barrett, host of Truth Jihad Radio. Federal prosecutors, Department of Homeland Security agents, and curious passersby often ask me, just what is this truth jihad thing anyway? Well, everybody knows what truth is, but jihad is a misunderstood term. Jihad means effort or struggle. The greater jihad is the struggle to be a better person, while the lesser jihad is the struggle to defend the community. Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, did say that the best jihad is a word of truth flung in the face of a tyrant. And that's what we do here at Truth Jihad Radio. Every Friday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, 5 to 7 Pacific, right here on Revolution Radio.
Find some comfort at Willow's World. A variety of news, commentary and poetry at Willow's Poetry Corner, where there are comfy cushions and a tempting selection of delectable comestibles. A show that's quirkily and quintessentially British, with a unique twist featuring Willow Andreasen, your host. Join Willow Mondays and Thursdays 2 till 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Studio A.
February is Heart Month. Every year for the month of February, to show our appreciation to Extendivite's faithful customers, we have a sale. If you would like to try Extendivite, now is the time to get a few months ahead and really give Extendivite the time to show you how it works. Most of Extendivite's long-term customers wait for this sale to stock up. People and doctors tell us about the unbelievable improvements that they have experienced in their overall health, not just the heart. Extendivite wants you to experience the power of these herbs. Get a 4-month supply for only $115 for either the capsules or tincture. Please take advantage of this once-per-year sale and get healthy for life. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
I want to go on with this DNA cycle change. That just really has me like going, oh, some answers just showed up. Because what they've done with the fluoride to make the osteoporosis and the bones and everything get more brittle, we have a lot of elderly who are dementiaed and end up hurting themselves. And I think taking at least 10, make sure I don't end up with that. Is that okay? I mean, if not, we can go to whatever subject you like. CERN. What do you think about CERN?
Oh, that's a big topic. Yeah, with a synthetic RNA, the solution is actually just heart consciousness. Develop your own heart consciousness to get invulnerable. I mean, I did wake up after a second, and it could not kill me. So this is how you get out of it, and the rest is not so important. You know, if you start to meddle into details of how evil this attack is. And you just involve yourself more into the grumbling game and into the victim feeling and whatever. And this is not where I want to send people. It's just important to know that these things are around. So if people say I've been attacked with something like this, don't tell them they're mad or crazy or this does not exist, because it does exist and it is applied. And that's it, and then find a solution for yourself. Well,
but you're setting an example, which is really good, because it's giving the people the way that they can investigate deeper into whatever it is. I mean, we're hoping that they don't start burning books and stuff like that, but there are ways and means to get the information. And if you are centered, you'll get your own answers, too. So it's a big thing on trust.
What I wanted to say before the break, I think that's a good and important topic. Like you can find your inner abundance, stabilize it within your consciousness, and then observe how the reality around you is responding in abundance. And like this, it's also with authority and hierarchies and politics. If you go into complete self-responsibility, take responsibility for all aspects of your life. If shit happens, just regard it as a karmic issue. Apparently you projected something into reality that now hits you, or you've done something similar in the past that now returns as a karmic feedback loop. And whatever it is, deal with it. We are far away. Most of the people are extremely far away of this type of consciousness. Mm-hmm. They think they can book an insurance to get out of deep shit. You know, they think they can betray karma.
I know, right?
By paying a monthly donation to some shitty company. And then if karma hits, I'm out, it doesn't hit me because my insurance pays. This is,
they think it's going to be instant. We earn karma. It comes in segments of reality because the universal law works in a different time than our time. Go ahead.
Yes, it comes in time delay, but if it comes for a reason. And what I think is a good idea to learn, like you can rediscover your internal abundance to get rich, you can rediscover your trust into the system of karmic justice. And then you will never ever try to open a legal case against somebody or to book an insurance to get out of the consequences of your own deeds, because if you know everything that happens is a result of self-responsible behavior, you're willing to deal with the results of your own behavior because you are self-responsible, then everything is perfect. And this is our choice. We make, whether we think about it consciously or not, we on daily level decide into what level of justice we buy in. When we buy into the legal system, we are subject to the legal system, including the bastards who invented it. If we buy into the karmic concept and go into self-responsibility, we are definitely there. And then nobody that tries to get hold of us from the perspective of the legal system will ever be successful.
Well, it's that unconditionalness of existing with life instead of against it.
Yes. And this is our free choice, and we make this choice, whether we think about it or not. We address different systems of justice.
Mm-hmm.
We can address the worldly justice, and we do this not even when we go to court. We do this when we vote politicians, because they represent this worldly system that is promising justice, but giving us the complete opposite. Like we decide to use money that is promising us abundance, but is bringing us into the precise opposite. Because it's a demonic trick. Both hierarchy is a demonic trick and the monetary system is a demonic trick. And the true reality.
Any other name, right?
Yeah, the true reality behind the karmic justice and the internal abundance is just there waiting for us. And it's not about. Yeah, it's not about fighting them out of their positions or replacing them by people who have a different belief or different energies. This is kind of all their game of positioning entities in hierarchies.
Right.
What we need to do is fully question the concept of hierarchy. And when you do this internally, by not obeying to anyone and not trying to control anyone,
right?
This is what it needs. This is kind of the internal work, not resting on control of others, not giving away responsibility to anyone else, and not trying to control anyone for your own survival. Just interact in full awareness and volunteering interaction with the people around you. And then you're in a perfect space. Then actually nothing can happen to you. Nobody can attack you. You define your own abundance by the state of your own heart, which is your complete free choice, how you do it and what you visualize for yourself. And this is where I think we all want to go.
Well, I recognize that karma is cause and effect, action, reaction. So it's like the golden rule, put out there what you want, put back onto you, even though it's really the begotten thing. The phonics of it could be so easy, and it's just common sense in my mind. But it took some steps to get here,
Yeah, the view is a bit spoiled by the guilt thinking of the legal system, because karma is not about guilt.
No, at all.
Karma is all about experiencing two sides of dual interactions. This is what karma is about. I had some beautiful insights into former lifetimes of mine.
Neat.
And there's one really ugly one where I was a stupid crusader that was running to the Holy Land, and on the way I was killing lots of people, raping women, robbing, stealing, until I was killed myself. Real bastard. I have slight memories of that one. It's a really stupid life. I don't really like thinking about that one, but something that happens. And the next life, I was a farmer's woman in South France, living a very peaceful life in the coast area. I have full visual memory of the house we lived in. And at a certain point, a bunch of men came in, killed my husband, killed 2 of my 3 children, raped me, and then killed me. And I have full memory of that moment of death, already half out of my body, where I was completely thankful that the karmic response on that crusader's life was coming in quality, not in quantity. I was fully aware of that. That was kind of the other side of the game I played in that life before. And I was awake enough to receive this lesson with my entire being as, okay, I've learned that now, that you don't do these things. And it was okay for me. It was okay to get stabbed and raped, And it was okay to die that way because I had to experience how it felt like. If you're in empathy, not empathy, empathy is the wrong word at that point. If you live your life in compassion, something is wrong with this. Empathy it's more something, sounds a bit clinical. Compassion is more beautiful. Yeah, if you feel what others feel, it doesn't even need karma. Karma comes into place when you stop feeling what you do to others. And this is kind of the reminder, okay? Do you remember you did that yourself? Karma. And if you don't feel what you cause in others because you're not in this state of compassion, then karma is the tool to fix the bug in you. Because not being in compassion is a disease. It's a state of not being healed fully. Because a healed being, something that is in his full potential of being a human, is in compassion 24/7. And the moment, if you're a healthy human on this planet, you are in an ocean of torture 24/7. In compassion, like the entire biosphere is in an ocean of torture due to our hands. Yeah. So it's not so easy at the moment, but still it's possible to get there. And it's okay to get there because at a certain point you realize feeling is just feeling. It's like the volume with the different frequencies, and every frequency can be from 1 to 10, and 1 is okay and 10 is allowed, and torture is somewhere in the range between 8 and 10, and it's loud and it's painful, but it's just feeling. So what? It's out of the spectrum that was given to us to experience life. So what? It doesn't kill us.
Well, it would if we held on to it and we fed it to grow. Because that's where fear comes in at. Thinking that, they should carry this pain. I don't carry any pain. And there's been a lot of pain. But like you said, I woke up to the circumstances of seeing the reality behind that play in the illusion. And there were times I could not cry when I should have been crying. But I had it not in me. Because I was not to respond. And then it came back in more of a compassion. But I was never a whiny, cryy kind of individual. But it's interesting and not easy to get rid of the victimhood because it's ingrained. Go ahead.
Real tears is something you go through. If somebody is whiny, he doesn't go through anything. He's just using emotionality for energy vampirism purposes.
Right.
This is it can be part of the victim-savior interaction to present yourself as a victim and cry, but this is not feeling. This is something completely else. This is happening within the mental representation of emotions.
Right.
You think you are a victim, so out of the thought, your emotional body is producing some bad sketch of what feeling could be. Real feeling is in the aura. It's hovering around you. It's a process that you can feel in your etheric being or in your etheric surrounding. This is true feeling. It flows like more. Having the motion pattern outside of your body, touching your body in a slight interaction, then cascading biochemistry in your body as well. This is what I experience as true feelings. And feeling is something you have and then it's done. It's fulfilled. When you had it, it's gone. It can't get stuck somewhere and possess your day consciousness or spoil your life over a longer time. It's always in the flow, and when it's done, it's done.
I will agree totally. But being empathetic or empathic my whole life, it's just something where, to me, it's a discipline of knowing that if I just stay in my center, everything around me will be okay. And 99.9% it is. And it's not always easy to feel blessed, but if people really saw the magic of this universal world that we're living on, and trying to think, oh, we're going to fly to Mars, well, wouldn't want us out there because we sure aren't good caregivers here. No, we've just taken care of the earth for ourselves and destroyed all the resources. Except I do like my crystals. I'm a big rock fanatic, and I do love this planet. And a lot of people don't recognize that's all it takes is some kind of gratitude and thankfulness that so many things can change.
Mm. Oh, crystals are happy if they get duties. It's always about the way you interact with the living things on this planet. If you have a huge stone collection, you use them for purposes. And you make sure that they're cleansed enough to be able to fulfill their purpose you give them. And you ask them to play their role. If this is the interaction with the mineral world, it's beautiful. And the mineral world is appreciating because it's part of the consciousness of the planetary
we agree.
Spirit.
Yeah. Yes, I've always... they would come to me for no apparent reason, just like other things like that. I always let the universe show me. And it's been a fun ride between Native American and getting into the crystals and the herbs and the other things like that. But nothing that I knew from the past is actually in doctrine or documents is valued at all today. And a lot of people would put that as a depression, that they aren't who they were. And that's not the case. It's who you are becoming. It has nothing to do with who you were. And once that gets a little more played in their minds, that they can play here, you're making your own future. And it is. By me knowing everything that I know that's going on against humanity and life itself, I could be a basket case. But I know better. So I try to nurture and unconditionally love with the best responsibility because I'm able to respond. And it's going to be a fun spring seeing life rebirth again. And how the limits are changing.
Yeah. And at my end, it just started to get beautiful again. If I look at the last years, it's been more or less full-time struggle with things. Struggle with the outside world also, but mainly struggle with getting myself sorted. Because nothing was in place in my day consciousness, the way I grew up, the way I got an adult human. The result actually was a pretty mess I had to clear first. So the last years were more or less struggle, internal, external. And it's very beautiful to see that slowly now there's a space opening for life in the right way. Life shared with friends who are on the same
wavelength,
spiritual path, wavelength, in full communication with a growing enclave of this planet that is in divine order, like your own garden can become.
Oh yeah, I've been known as the magical gardener.
And it's starting to grow slowly. Like the last days I spent building a half timber gable for my little barn. It was falling to bits and pieces, and I've never done that before in my life, and I was always kind of dreaming of one day I will do that, and now I've been working on it for the
that's
last
so
7 days,
sweet.
and it's beautiful. It's so fun to get into the little abilities you need to saw
did
in a
you
straight
do it with
line
power
and get all
tools,
the...
or did you do it
No,
by hand?
all hand. The wood is from the last storm that broke many of the pines in the local forest. So I got pine trunks, had them put into beams by somebody from the village with a big saw. He came along, so it's all self-collected, and
your hearth is being done. You've earned your hearth. You will have your altar where you can sit back and be you. Oh, that's really cool. Congratulations. Yeah, I'm just even think about the area and degree of things, of the changes, and it doesn't really matter. I wrote a song. It is what it is, whatever. Because there's nothing you can do to change the environment. You can only change yourself, because that's the real power of the matrix behind the illusion. Like you said, divine right order. We talk, we think, we are ordering from the universe what we receive. And once you recognize, once you receive your authentic self and come out and play, then what's it worth, you know?
Yeah, I would even go one step further. We are the projector, reality is the projection. In any case, this is kind of quantum physics. Just people don't understand how precise the finding is. That actually there is no reality apart from our perception of reality. Perceiving it is creating it in the same. So we are the projector. The observing consciousness is the creating consciousness, because we are all aspects of the divine that doesn't live in a world. He carries the world within him.
That is so true.
Yeah,
I almost said amen.
As an aspect, as an aspect of the divine consciousness, whatever you become is the blueprint for the reality the same consciousness is experiencing. And this duality of observing, being observed, this is just the illusion that creates our reality. But it's not real. In reality, or not in reality, but in the truth, it's all one. So we change ourselves and the world around is changing. And whoever did that will realize, oh, funny how that works.
Yes,
on all
it
levels.
Is. If it wasn't for the people outside of myself, I would not have known to witness who I am, and it's become a better me because of it. So we all got to let go of the hassles and the assumptions and the I wannas and just do what you need, like building a part of a barn.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Expressing your inner views, visions, pictures. Being creative. I think being creative is the best you can do when you realize that you're an aspect of the creator.
Exactly. Is there a way, in case anybody would like to get a hold of you, that we've got that one last minute left?
Individual requests best per email. Many people try to contact me via the Facebook page, but I can't follow up with all the messages.
I didn't even realize we were friends, because when I labeled the show, you came right up, so that was cool. So go ahead, the email. That's how I got a hold of you.
Email is the quickest way. I read it once or twice a day, and I make sure that I read all of them. If you're interested in the scientific part of the work, there's a German page, but it contains download links to the English papers. I do everything both in German
We're at the end. You're going to have to give me that information.
Okay.
Because they're cutting me off.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Thank you, darling.
We'll be
really,
right
watch
back
you do it again.
after this
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. Any commercial advertising you may hear in this program is of the sole discretion and benefit of the host of whose program you are listening to. Revolution Radio does not endorse any commercial products, nor does it accept monetary compensation for on-air advertising of commercial products, nor will it ever. We are and shall remain 100% listener supported. Any product advertising on this program are considered used at higher risk, and Revolution Radio shall not be held liable for any claims or damages received from any product advertised within this program. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Thanks for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we are listener-sponsored and commercial-free, but there still are bills to pay. In order to raise some needed funds to cover the cost, our station is offering a silver special. In the continental United States for a $60 donation, or in Alaska, Hawaii, or Canada for a $70 donation, we will send you an uncirculated 2018 1-ounce pure silver Eagle. The $70 donation, the extra 10 is to cover shipping, by the way, outside of the continental United States. When making the donation, you must put Silver Eagle promo in the notes on the donation. And thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at revolution.radio and freedomslips.com. Without you, there is no us. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Is your data safe? Do you have the necessary information to assist you in confidently living through just about any survival situation? Is survival and gardening, off-grid living, medical knowledge, or even natural or man-made EMPs on your list of personal concerns? Do you have your documents and your personal information in a safe place in your hands where you know where it is? Well, check out our preloaded EMP-proof thumb drive. Over 3 gigs of survival documents and how-tos, plus the USDA offline food preservation website, and much, much more, including a surprise bonus we just can't tell you about here. With plenty of room left over to store your most important documents. Imagine if a megavirus